Well, I've been to a lot of wonderful places. I've traveled a lot since I was small, but I haven't lived anywhere except California and London. All the time I traveled, I was based in London, England, and I went a lot of places in Europe, over Africa, a lot of Caribbean, Canada, America. Where else have I been? So many places.
Were you born and grew up in
In
London?
London, yeah, in West London, near the BBC. And I was based there for my whole life, for school, until I came here in 2005.
Have you been to China?
I've not been to, oh no, I have, it doesn't really count. I've been to Hong Kong a few times, and I did travel once, which is a funny story. When I decided to go you want to tell you the funny story? I hypnotized myself. I had met a friend at a self-hypnosis seminar, and we both decided to go to Hong Kong together. And we used the self-hypnosis because he is very early getting up in the morning, always busy and doing things. He had looked in the guidebook and decided all the things that we were going to do. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to keep up with him. So I did the self-hypnosis. I will not need to sleep while I'm in Hong Kong. I will not need to sleep because otherwise I'm going to be telling him I'm tired and I can't get up or I want to go to bed. So that's what I did. And of course, it worked. The whole time I was in Hong Kong, I could not sleep. I was up all night, night after night after night. He would bang on the door at 6 a.m. and say, oh, good, you're up. I hadn't gone to sleep yet. It was terrible. Then we took a boat to China. As soon as we got on the boat, I fell asleep. We got to China, we got on a coach, I fell asleep. We went all around different parts of China. I slept nearly the whole time. I had an amazing time at a zoo where everybody crowded around. Instead of taking pictures of the baby pandas, they took pictures with me because they were all tiny, beautiful little Chinese girls, their black hair. And I was this blonde giant. It was hilarious. I got back on the coach, people whispering, who is she? Who is she? Why are they taking her picture? Is that Madonna? And then got on a train, fell asleep, got on a boat, fell asleep, came back to Hong Kong wide awake. Couldn't sleep again for the rest of my trip in Hong Kong. So you might say I missed quite a lot of China, but it's also true that self-hypnosis worked because while I was in Hong Kong, I didn't need to sleep.
Do you remember which year was it?
1997.
1997. Yeah, it was
I
the
got a
year.
lot of good photos from my time over there,
It was the
China and
year
Hong
that
Kong.
Hong Kong
Yes,
came
it
back
was.
to
It was the
China.
year of the ox, I believe.
Okay, and also the year that Hong
That
Kong
Hong Kong
got
was
back
being
to
given
China.
back
Came
from
back to
from
China.
the UK. Yeah, Britain
Yes.
gave it back, so that's why we went.
Mhm.
It was pretty funny because we found the Chinese people to be so reserved, so polite, and at the big procession with the ox and everything, we're all going crazy, taking pictures, my friend and me, and then the Chinese people were looking at us, going, "What are those people doing? They're very unruly. They all just seem so well behaved." Well, I'm a photographer now, but going back from the beginning, I worked in a store, a small boutique, which belonged to friends of mine. I didn't know them when I walked in and asked for the job, but I've been friends with them ever since. They ran a beautiful little boutique for babies and children with just the most gorgeous little leather jackets, tiny little leather boots, gorgeous handmade little dresses and things. I used to work there before college. Then I went to
What did you do
college,
there?
teacher training. I took a master's actually in social biology. And then what job did I do? I taught. I was a teacher for many years. I worked with elementary school children. And then I started teaching fitness. I became a personal trainer. I taught group fitness, exercise classes, aerobics, all of that, spinning. And then I moved into yoga and I learned to become a yoga teacher. I studied with various people, including people here in California, where I would travel from London over here to Yoga Journal, to their conferences, fantastic teachers and master classes. I learned Pilates and I became a Pilates teacher. And when I came here, that was my email address, yoga and Pilates teacher. But I got injured and I gained a lot of weight and I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't feel I was a good example of it anymore, let's put it that way. And I started, because I'd modeled quite a bit when I was younger, I decided I would get behind the camera. I didn't want to be photographed anymore. But I have lots of cameras. Here's one of them. This is my Sony. I'm actually a Canon fan. Anyone asks me Nikon or Canon, I say Canon because it's easier for me. But this is the Sony. And because I love that creative process. And when I stopped modeling, I didn't want to stop being part of that creative process. And I'd learned a lot from the different photographers that I'd worked with. They were all so interesting. and wonderful and happy to share their insights. So eventually I kind of moved across, and people were like, whoa, weren't you the model? How come you're now the photographer? And so I've been running a meetup group for a long time, helping models and photographers create portfolio images and improve their skills and networking. So that's been really great. And that's what I do now.
You switched from being a model and then
I switched from being a model to being a photographer, and then I switched from doing this kind of shot, which is, if you can tell, a model. This is at La Jolla, which is a beautiful place, and the light is not from the sun, although it looks like it's coming from the sun. That was actually mobile studio lighting that I used, if you can tell. And I moved from doing model's way or outdoors or in a studio with hair and makeup and all that because of COVID. We didn't want to be indoors. We didn't want to have people coming and touching each other, hair and makeup. So then I moved into shooting for families. Now here's a model which shows you an ordinary photo, how thin it is. And what I do now with my families is stuff like this. It's actually ready to display. You could frame it, but you don't have to. So this is family work with kids and their parents and their dogs and their cats. And this is my latest. Let's see what I got in here. Oh, this is a cute little boy. They have to yet buy this one. It all comes boxed with a lot of ribbons, and it's something that will last for many years. This is an ordinary photo. It won't last all that long. It might fade in the sun and stuff. But the stuff I do now, which is mounted, these are gorgeous. You can't tell really, but it's like skin.
Yeah.
And it will last 200 years. So your kids can look back, and their kids can look back, and they'll have more than what I have, which is tiny little sepia pictures. You can have stuff to remember your family and archive it. So I've enjoyed doing that now.
Could you share some secrets of how to take a good picture?
I can, but it's not that short. It needs demonstration. My biggest tip, which is easiest if you're fat like me and you've gained weight and someone's taking your photo and you don't want to be photographed, just grab two thin friends and pull them in. That's my biggest tip. Pull in two skinny girls right out, and it'll make you look a lot smaller. Don't be in front of them, whatever you do. Have them just in front of you. And always have a nice strong light on your face if you're old and wrinkled, because the side light is very flattering if you're young, not if you're old. So those are two good tips. And what I love about photography is you're making something that lasts. You're capturing a second, a moment, or a feeling, an emotion, say at a wedding. I love my weddings for that reason. And for the boudoir, I love boudoir as my specialty. I didn't pull out any of those pictures. But boudoir photography makes you feel good about yourself. And those lasting images make you feel good on your bad days. And that's what I love about it most. As I'm a Libra, I like to make people look and feel beautiful. I like to create beauty. And I do little magic touch-ups so that just people look their best. They look thinner, they look better, they look younger. Not that you'd notice, maybe, just a little bit of believable touch-up. That's what I really like about it. I love the retouching. It's instant gratification.
Did your experience of being a model help you become a good photographer?
Oh, yes. I should tell people more about that, really, because a lot of photographers are wonderful. And men have been making women feel beautiful for generations, but they don't know what it's like to be a woman or to be in front of the camera, and how the kinds of things, like the next girl I've got coming in, I'm going to put her behind a big chair. She's going to be surprised. Why am I not sitting in the chair? Because leaning back like this is unattractive. She's going to be hiding behind the chair, leaning on the chair, because that way something is blocking her from me. Instead of pulling back, what's she going to do? She's going to come forward. So when people are not models and they're not used to it and they kind of naturally hang back, I put a blockage or just some part of their body so that they're blocked, and that makes them come forward and give the camera something to photograph. And so that's really the trick, I think. Not just doing it like everyone else does when they say, well, there's the chair, sit down, I'll take a picture. I work out the psychological, how I'm going to make people feel the most comfortable and give me the best expression that they can.
So because you know how people feel.
I understand how they feel, exactly. That's why I do that. For example, you can leave the room. I haven't done this, but you can leave the room and say, I'll be back in a minute, but just stay there because I'm measuring the light. And you can click, 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 click from the other room. And I know people have gotten great pictures of someone just because they didn't think the camera was working. You can leave the room, say, ignore the camera, I'm just going to be checking the light, be back in a minute. And you go, tuk, 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 and you take pictures of them going, you know, whatever they're doing. It can work. A lot of people photograph better when they don't realize the camera is going. And I'm not advocating any deceptions here, just as you asked me how to get the best pictures and whether or not being a model has helped me understand better what it's like in that position. There are a lot of things photographers do. They might look down at their camera and not like what they see and go, oh dear, you know, and they're messing around with settings. As a woman waiting for your photo, that is not encouraging. If he looks at it and goes, you know, people take it personally. And so just basically the first few minutes are the most important, because when you start something, you're excited to do it. And if someone wastes time or just takes time because they need to dial in all their settings and work out their light, and by the time they're ready, a lot of times your model has lost interest. And men don't realize that sometimes. So I teach a lot of classes for them to kind of understand more the mindset and take care of little things like that. I might pretend to take good pictures too before I've even started. Like out on the beach one time, we had this girl that everybody was trying to photograph, and I was teaching one of my classes, and I had a lot of models that day. By the time I got to this one to check how everybody was doing, they all said, oh, I can't get a good picture of her. I said, why not? She's gorgeous. Oh, no, she's just not listening, or she's not doing the right thing. So I said, okay, watch this. So I go over, I can sit on that rock there, and I take some pictures, and I go, great, oh my God, gorgeous. Everybody leaves these other gorgeous models and runs round over to me. They're all hovering now behind me, going, what are you doing? Let's see. And I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't got there yet. That was just bluffing. Because as soon as she really believed they were good, they became good. No one's going to get a better picture by saying, oh, that wasn't much good. I'm not liking this. So those are my tips. Okay, so this is La Jolla, Sharon Michelle. This is Gina in studio with her afro. Might be a bit hard to see with the black background. And then this is the Amtrak station downtown Santa Fe. This is the Gillespie Museum, I think. No, what do they call that? The Flying Leathernecks in Mira Mesa. I'm getting all the places wrong. Mira something. That's not my photo. That is. Here's Anya and lots of beautiful things. This is a LA shot. He's jumping so high, if you can tell. And then this is really just showing how you can do light from the side.
So how do you feel differently, like behind the camera and in front of the camera?
It's very different. I made an advertisement where, as a photographer, I was going, come to me. And as a model, I was going, stay away. It's a sort of dual thing. But I don't think you can take really good pictures unless you have also been on the other side of the camera and to be photographed by people you don't know. It's a little bit stressful. And to not understand that will leave people disadvantaged, I think.
You have a business of being a photographer. Could you share more about your business?
Oh, well, what I do in my business is I photograph people. I can photograph things too, and I don't mind. I quite like photographing things, but people are more challenging. People are more interesting, more diverse. And so I do headshots and portraits. I do family work, people with their dogs, people outdoors in the park. I don't do action. I don't do football games or frisbee throwing, jogs, jumping. I do stuff that's often looks unplanned, and it might look candid, like a one-off, but actually you have to plan those one-off shots. Usually it looks more improvised than it is. And so I photograph beautiful lingerie and boudoir women that take pictures for themselves or for their husband, maybe.
Do you take picture here?
I take pictures wherever. I go to people's homes and I go to a hotel room. If it's pretty, you can get a hotel room really cheap for a couple of hours in the afternoon, not for the reason you think, but for photography. I can do a lot because in London, we had to wait on the weather. or we had to hire expensive studio spaces. We couldn't necessarily use the beautiful statues of London because you're in public, there are too many people, the weather was bad. But here, where we are now in San Diego, every day is beautiful, all the scenery is beautiful, and I'm based in Oceanside, where we have a pier, we have fountains, we have murals everywhere, as well as, you know, all the beaches and the parks and the greenery, and we just have so much that we can go anywhere. And we can take personal, business, family, or sexy pictures pretty much anywhere.
What's the name of your business?
It's Anjel Britt Photography, darling.
Anjel
It's on the
Britt
box.
Photography.
I don't think you can read that, but there's a stack of business cards behind you.
Anjel Britt Photography.
Anjel Britt. It's Angel with a J and it's Britt with 2 T's, which makes it hard to find. But if you've got a good memory, or you just Google Anjel Britt or Expression Unlimited. I was Expression Unlimited Photography before. And I have a lot more of my models, my beauty work and boudoir stuff, even nude art, fine art photography under Expression Unlimited. But under the Anjel Britt, since COVID, it's a little bit more for normal people, not models necessarily, but real people and their families and their newborn babies.
And how big is the business? Do you hire people?
I can do because I teach. So I've got a lot of colleagues that I've taught in the past or that have come to help me teach. I've got a lot of students and people who are amateur photographers that I can call on to assist me and stuff like that. This is really a one-woman show.
Do you use social media?
I do. I have a bunch of Instagrams and Facebooks, both Expression Unlimited and Anjel Britt. I use Twitter, I think, sometimes. You'll find me anyway. Just have a look and you'll see. And then don't be shy to get in touch because I love talking to people, right? So if you have any ideas of what you want to do or just want to learn more, I'm thinking I might teach more actual camera work too. I've had a lot of people asking me lately about using their camera. I used to avoid that because cameras are also different. But if they're Sony or Canon, I can definitely get them started.
Any tips that you can share about using social media effectively?
Using social media effectively. I almost said protectively. That's a Freudian slip. You can use it protectively.
Yes.
In fact, you should be protecting yourself, but what you really want to do is get yourself out there. Don't be like me. Don't be lazy and busy with other interests. Focus and do what my business manager told me to do. On Mondays, post something about your weekend. On Tuesdays, post something about your business or a special offer or a coupon or a gift. On Wednesdays, post about your animal, your pet, your family, something where you ask a question. What do you think of this? Have you guys had the same problem as me? To engage people. On Thursdays, post, what are you doing this weekend? Book a photo shoot with me, blah, 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 and some pictures. On Friday, post, which do you like better, the black and white or the color? Please give your remarks here, again, to engage people. And if you're a photographer and you have time to post on Saturday and Sunday, please let me know how you do it because I don't have time to post on the weekend. But you're supposed to vary what you post. Don't always talk about yourself. Ask about other people. Offer tips. And I didn't even mention the tips. Maybe that was the Sunday one.
I love it. Do you have any suggestions for me of
For
how
you?
to build up, my YouTube
Well,
channel?
I've never done it, but the common sense would suggest to me to do your YouTube channel, you have to make some very short YouTubes as well as the longer ones. Very short, 2-3 minute tasters or introductions. Like today I'm be talking with Anjel Britt, join me later, here's her work, here's her, don't miss it, or anything at all that is a lead up to what you're doing, because people don't have much of an attention span and you want to get them involved, you get them to sign up. Don't immediately say, hey, subscribe here, ring the bell. It's annoying, but you could have a little graphic that reminds people, subscribe. Or ask them at the end, if you've enjoyed this, please consider subscribing, because I don't think there's anything worse than being ordered to subscribe to someone you've just clicked on that you've no idea if you're interested in or not, that you've never seen before in your life. I think if you're going to make it interesting, you need to vary an awful lot, but also focus on a certain group of people. Because when you ask anybody, who is your business for? When they start, they say, everyone. But there is no everyone. You have to target a certain audience in order to succeed. You have to find specific groups of people. Like if I really wanted to focus on my newborns that I love, I would create relationships with hospitals and groups of pregnant women, you know. And if I wanted to do boudoir, maybe I would only do that. Then I would go among the military and look for the wives whose husbands have been posted abroad and say, let's take some pictures and let's send those to him. So whatever you're doing, if it's Toastmasters, I would focus on Toastmasters a lot, or just leadership. People always need to learn that. But leadership isn't something you learn, really. It's something you develop over time, I think. So many pictures, so little time. This is an old door, a roll-up door, which is part of a garage. Came out with fabulous lines. Here's some more lines with the live snake. This is the ferry landing at Coronado. This is Coronado too. Her violin, that's her violin there. And then I've got more bikinis. And then behind you, the Western Hotel. This is the hallway of the Western Hotel. And there's another one here of the same hotel, which is up towards the light, Oceanside Pier.